Yeah, got to tell you, if you're not here, you're missing out. But it's a great show. This one's going to go by really fast. We've got Jeremiah Campbell, the owner, chief cook, bottle washer of this company, and we want to talk about so many things. Jeremiah, brick and mortar chimney types. Are there different types
of chimneys?
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. You got your chimney chases, your pre-manufactured inserts. I mean, there's all different kinds. Essentially, it breaks down to a couple different. In this demographic, you have your furnace or your utility chimneys that are going to vent your mechanicals, right? There's that one section, and then there's your fireplace chimneys. Sometimes they run in the same flues. Separate flues in the same actual chimney.
You talked about people intentionally starting a fire in their house.
Yeah.
Which is kind of an odd concept to consider.
Yeah, you're bringing fire into your home to actually. I mean, it's absolutely insane to do, and most homeowners don't know the dangers of actually having a fire. And every single person that you guys have interviewed today talks about how they can save you money. Yeah. They go to you'll call a contractor out, windows, siding, doors, insulation, painters, doesn't matter who it is, they're going to seal your house shut. And what it does is it starves your chimney for oxygen. And then your chimney and your fireplace, isn't going to vent properly. And we see that all the time: smoke damage, fires. And if you don't take the time to get your chimney and your flue inspected by a CSIA, Chimney Safety Institute of America,
there's a way to do it.
There's a way to do it. Yeah.
Well, let's be honest. 90% of the chimneys that were built between the 1930s and the 70s
probably, yeah, even later,
didn't have a lot of thought put into them. Isn't that fair?
Whatsoever.
Yeah. I mean, how many times did you see?
Stacking and mudding.
They'd get to the top and they'd be flue short. So they'd literally just throw some brick in there and not caring about the future of that chimney
at all.
Yeah. Just to raise it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what are the dangers?
The dangers: fire. You burn the house down, kill the family. I mean, that's a huge danger. Smoke in the house, and if you've got a furnace chimney, carbon monoxide poisoning. You can run into all kinds of issues. Water leaks.
Can Brickworks fix those things and still let me use my fireplace?
Absolutely. That's exactly what we do.
See, but what's important is you mentioned the furnace chimneys and the hot water, or the water heater furnaces. Those are a moisture that's coming out of it. Those are a steam that's coming out of it.
And acid in the...
Yeah, acidic steam, even worse. And a lot of times people don't realize that that's happening from the inside out. All they see is the outside, so they get their chimney fixed. But no one told them, hey, you got an issue on the inside.
Symptom disease.
Yeah, no, I mean, you hit it. The challenge that we see when it comes to chimneys is who's responsible for it. Is it a mason or is it an HVAC contractor?
Good point.
So in the state of Michigan, you have to be HVAC certified in order to drop a liner.
That is so true. Keep that going. I know where you're going to go. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's kind of foolish because it creates BTUs. Because it creates BTUs, the fireplace. That means that an HVAC contractor. You get an HVAC contractor to come in and they look at your fireplace. They're like, "Whoa, I have no idea what's going on." And who gets stuck in the middle? The customer.
Yes.
They don't know who's the professional. They don't know who's the expert.
Right.
And that's
HVAC guys don't like climbing residential roofs.
At all.
I don't
blame
but
them.
they need to if they're going to do it right.
If they're going to do it right. And so every time, right in our paperwork, we work hand in hand with many HVAC contractors out there.
Good for
but
you.
the point is to make sure when I get done, because I'm going to put a guarantee on our work, not a warranty from the manufacturer, an actual guarantee that Brickworks offers on chimney rebuilds, on any kind of rebuild. We give you a 5-year guarantee. And that's anything happens to it whatsoever, give us a call, no proration, no nothing. We're coming out there and we're taking care of it for you. So we have to make sure that everything is actually right. And just like Ken said, it goes bad from the inside out. And if that venting isn't properly sealed inside that liner, what's going to happen is it's going to start leaching through. Like Ken said, 95 out of 4,000 chimneys that I personally inspected, I maybe have come across 5 or 6 that would have passed inspection.
Right. I believe that. I do believe that. Well, why is it the porches and the chimney that always get it so bad? The rest of the house looks great, but those porches and chimneys break up like crazy.
Absolutely, and it's the farthest most extremity outside of the house, which means it's not backed up by an insulated wall. It's not backed up. It doesn't have gutters, overhangs, things like that. It's the moisture buildup on it, right? So on the top of the chimneys, it sticks up past anything. It sees the harshest elements. It sees the most rain, and there's nothing around it to protect it. Then it's frozen all the way up, and then anytime your furnace, hot water tank, boiler, anything that's venting into their fireplace goes in there. Now it's thawing from the inside out. Then when the water hits it, it's going to, like your porch, for instance, there's bushes that hold the moisture against it. There's all kinds of, it's like a perfect storm of damage that's going to happen to, you know, the knee walls, fire, chimneys, porches, concrete, things like that.
Talked to a guy Thursday who said, my cap, I think you call that thing on top a cap, is broken up and failing. I got to get that replaced.
Yes.
Is that enough if you see that?
Absolutely.
Should he be concerned about other issues?
Oh, absolutely. Well, it's going to continue to get worse.
It's cancer. It's cancer of the
cancer.
house.
It's never going to get better. You know, and so on the top of the chimney, you know, when you see a chimney going bad, majority of the time it's from the top down. The top continues to go bad. Why is that? The concrete cap on top. So most of the time when they built a fireplace or a chimney and they capped it, what did the mason have? Mortar.
Yeah.
And so they take a mortar wash and they just dumped it on the top. Well, mortar is made, it's actually designed, you would think it would be designed to wick water away, but it allows water to come in and come out of it. And so instead of putting a concrete cap up top or an aluminum cap up top, they put the mortar up there, and then you can never lay that over a half of an inch thick.
That's how I was trained when I went through my apprenticeship. They never got concrete. Whatever was left on the mudboard when we got to the top of the chimney, that's what went on the cap of that chimney. And some of these mansions we were doing, I mean, that was 25 years ago. I guarantee that's had to be repaired since, and that's not cheap.
No, especially when it's in the middle of a roof. The jungle gyms that we have to build.
Oh, gosh.
These scaffolding systems.
Because today's roof details that are up there are ridiculous.
Insane. Hips and valleys and you know, glass rooms and skylights and all the stuff that we got to work around. And so when you're looking at your chimney, that's why it's so important to qualify your contractor. Make sure you're using an inside-outside guys contractor to when you're actually out there, making sure that if we're going to go up there and access it, that it's going to get done right the first time.
And people don't understand, when you own a business that gets off the ground, the minute you step off the ground onto scaffolding, onto a roof, onto a ladder, your insurance rates go through the roof.
Oh, yeah.
And unfortunately, some people like to slack by just not getting the insurance or letting it lapse. And if they give you a really cheap price, or they're not licensed, they get up on your roof and somebody gets hurt.
Or they'll do a cosmetic
Chuck, what happens?
repair.
What happens to a homeowner if a worker gets hurt on their property?
They could be sued.
Personally,
if
yeah.
their homeowner policy isn't going to cover them, then they personally might be liable to preserve and protect that person for the rest of their life as a paralyzed, worker. It's just scary.
Talk about that, Jeremiah, because that scaffolding you build it's scary.
Yeah.
It's a word. It's not many people could climb on your extremely safe scaffold. Is that fair to say?
Yes, absolutely. There's an artwork to building scaffold. And, you know, the insurance is just the same. It's actually more expensive to dig down underground. Believe it or not, our foundation guys, because if those cave in,
the cave-ins, yeah.
kills you.
Oh.
You know, so the insurance is absolutely ridiculous. And so people will tell me all the time, well, can you match this price? Or I got a cheaper price. You can beat me on price, but you'll never beat me on value. And the reason is because we're properly insured and we're properly trained. Our guys are making more money than the union guys out there. And we're the largest residential contractor in Michigan when it comes to masonry restoration and repair.
Right.
And that's because we've built this processes and systems. But when you go out there, you don't have to worry about our guys getting hurt on your job site and it falling back on you, because most homeowners don't understand. Oh, I got homeowners insurance, it'll cover it. No, it won't.
No, it won't.
You do commercial as well as residential.
Yeah, we do a lot of commercial, a lot of big multi-families, and a lot of industrial as well.
And here's what we see people do. Are you licensed and insured? They'll say yes, because they do have a business license in the state of Michigan, so they're not lying when they
My
answer
truck's
yes.
insured.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
It's scary stuff.
Don't be afraid as a homeowner. Do not be afraid to ask for the insurance certificate faxed directly from the contractor's broker, which is very important.
And you mentioned an inspection. When we come back, would you please flesh that out a little bit? Because
Absolutely.
You just don't want a guy poking his face down the chimney saying, okay, right?
Exactly.
And we're talking about brick. And believe it or not, there are some really bad brick out there that need to be laid certain ways.
Yep.
And we'll talk about that when we get back from break too, as we continue our discussion with Jeremiah Campbell and Brickworks Property Restoration.
Brickworks Property Restoration for all your brick and concrete needs.